Hello, everybody. Yes, thank you so much, Kenneth. It's been a long few days, a delightful few days here in Vancouver. I was at Design Thinkers, the RGD conference at the Vancouver Playhouse the last couple of days, and then the Design Educators conference today, and then I raced over here, and we're going to do it. It's going to be great. No, it'll be really fun. So I'm going to make a case, hopefully, for working harder, not smarter. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. So I am going to talk to you today about optimization. Of course, I'm kidding. I'm going to talk to you about deoptimization. This is far more interesting, I think, these days. So to me, working harder, not smarter, means spending more time in an analog format. I am a crafty person, and this really feels like it's the right thing for me to be doing these days, inviting space to de-optimize. So I think analog provides so much delightful room for imperfection, experimentation, play. I don't love to play. Not at all. So the desire to de-optimize, of course, is not new. It's not novel. There are many others online and offline suggesting the same course of action. And of course, we see the pendulum swinging from one extreme of hustle culture to the other extreme of quiet quitting and somewhere in between. So this is nothing new or novel, but I, again, want to make a case that I think working harder, not smarter through de-optimization and analog tools might be exactly what we need right now. Okay, so this is my silly little font. I teach typography at Toronto Metropolitan University. I get to speak with wonderful, incredible, world-class typography folks for my podcast, Talk Paper Scissors, and I also play. I do a lot of playing. So in my professional and personal practices, I absolutely love making things, tinkering with new ideas in the areas of print, visual design, audio, and type. So this is an example of a font I made called Friends with Failure. And this, basically after having done a number of talks and workshops and experimenting with using failure as a catalyst for innovation, I made this silly little font. So it's decidedly analog. I drew it with my feet. Yeah, so there it is. Those are not my feet. Although I guess they could be, but those are not my feet. This is a stock image. But the actual letter forms themselves were drawn using my feet. And fun fact, every letter has an alternate character, which is my other foot, which I drew with my other foot. It's very silly. It's like, yeah, it's very silly. But it's fun. It's different. It's something that is decidedly weird and analog and definitely not optimized. I love doing it. So I spend my days working in Illustrator, working in InDesign. They are beautiful, robust tools that allow me to create efficiently and in an optimized way. Things are faster. Things are more precise. Things can be shared more easily. But I think there's also some drawbacks. So here are some that I kind of thought through. The work created efficiently in a digital format might feel a little less human, maybe, than something drawn by hand. It might not feel as good for our bodies to make, right? Our eyes and our posture kind of over the screen because of the tools that we're using. And I think the final result might feel sometimes, not always, but might feel a little more generic or run-of-the-mill because of it. So what I want to suggest, we'll get there, but I am absolutely guilty of being an optimizer. This is like my go-to. If I can find the fastest route, the most streamlined process, the perfect tool technique, like that is my jam most of the time. But as I've spent more time in an art therapy practice, as an art therapy client, as well as doing a lot more writing and course creation, kind of zooming out to see the bigger picture of my creative practice and others' creative practices, I've really come to desire this concept of de-optimization. And again, sometimes intentionally working harder, not smarter. So let's have a look here. So I've recently been listening to a lot of Gia Tolentino. Does anyone know the author, Gia Tolentino? Does that name ring a bell? For some, yes, some no. Okay. So she is an essayist and staff writer at The New Yorker. And she talks a lot about internet culture and late stage capitalism. In particular, I absolutely love listening to her book, Trick Mirror. An audiobook for me, especially with like a really powerful female author. I don't know, it just comes across, it's great. So I really love listening to her book, specifically about the chapter on optimization. Now, please note the irony in all of this, because I've been listening to Gia's work via an audiobook while I walk, because optimization, right? So it's like there's irony here. But here's what she said. So in the book, she points out this. In 1844, the word optimize was first used as a verb and literally meant to act like an optimist. Makes sense, right? Literally to act like an optimist. Now in 1857, we see this word used for the first time in the modern context, to make the most of. So this is a shift. And then optimization, it's also, she notes this in the chapter in her book, optimization began in economics. So really kind of like a cut and dry context, but it's expanded to include our sense of self and identities through internet culture, and specifically through social media too. And we often feel the need to optimize our days, to optimize our presence online, particularly if it's entangled with creative professional pursuits, to optimize our relationships, to optimize our creative practice, but at what cost? Now, this is a bit of a long one, but I just absolutely love this excerpt from this chapter in her book, and I'm going to read it. So here we go. She says this. But today, in an economy defined by precarity, more of what was merely stupid and adaptive has turned stupid and compulsory. And so, I go to Sweetgreen. It's a restaurant. I go to Sweetgreen on days when I need to eat vegetables very quickly because I've been working until 1 a.m. all week and I don't have time to make dinner because I'll have to work till 1 a.m. again. And, like a chump, I try and make eye contact across the sneeze guard as if this alleviated anything about the skyrocketing productivity requirements that have forced these two lines of people to scarf and create kale Caesars all day. And then I grab my salad and I eat it in under 10 minutes while looking at email and on the train home, remind myself next time, for points purposes, I should probably buy the salad through the Salads Designated app. So when I searched for synonyms for the word optimize, I was curious what would come up. And this is what I was presented with. All of these are kind of seemingly positive and rewarded by our society. So things like improve, refine, upgrade, increase, enhance, boost, maximize, expand. Any of these words could be found in an infomercial or an influencer campaign selling us solutions to our often manufactured problems, right? So it's not great. And when I searched for antonyms to the word optimize, this is what I was presented with. So all are seemingly negative and entangled with our sense of self-worth often. But what if de-optimizing our creative practice means reducing stress? What if it means diminishing brain rot via doom scrolling? What if decreasing the compulsion to express creativity only through digital means? And what if it means weakening ties to systems of oppression exacerbated by digital ecosystems puppeteered by billionaires? That'd be pretty good. Yeah, I'd like that a lot. Okay. Now, in an optimized state, it makes sense to do something as soon as possible. Can we agree on that? Okay. But what happens when we actively cultivate de-optimization? I think what that makes room for is this acronym to take on new meaning. So, for example, maybe it means as slow as possible. That would feel pretty good. As steady as possible. Ooh, as satisfyingly as possible, whatever that means to you. As sustained as possible. Or as scenic as possible. So de-optimization is possible through analog practice, I think, no matter how small. It's a choice that we can make that provides white space. And white space is something that us typography geeks understand really, really well as a necessity. So this helps take us from a place of reactivity, plowing through our to-do lists and our emails and our daily fires, I think, to a place of proactivity, possibility, and even abundance. What was once flat and two-dimensional, the monotony of the daily grind, begins to feel three-dimensional and maybe even four-dimensional. And I believe that it awakens our senses in a way that the digital infrastructure hasn't yet been able to capitalize on. Now, I want to show you this. It's not specifically type-related, but I think you'll want to see this. So when I was thinking about this talk, I remembered some scrappy artwork that I had made one morning a couple of years ago now, when I was feeling inspired to create with dollar store watercolor paints and just kind of following the style of an artist who I love, who goes by Brit Cheetah online. And I had a double espresso in my hand. I had a quiet morning where no one was bothering me. It was lovely. And I thought, I'm just going to make something. So I began to make this decidedly analog painted product. I don't paint, by the way. I'm not a painter. It's just like a wave of inspiration. And what I decided to do is not be committed to the final product, only focus on the process and the discovery along the way. And so what I'm about to show you in the following photographs is I've only ever shown to one other group of people, which is the Ligatures YYZ typography group in Toronto. So only type geeks allowed to see this. Okay, great. Okay. So again, I'm thrilled at however DIY the final products that I'm about to show you might be. I remember gaining such clarity and comfort in better understanding myself through this making session. It was kind of like catching and collecting fireflies that flickered in my brain, making meaning from chaos and putting it on the page. It was a very cool experience, and the double espresso helped. So here, I gained a lot of clarity through this process about kind of downloading from my subconscious a series of conversations around how creativity actually works. So how it's believed to work versus how it probably actually works. And then I kind of evolved that idea, and with paint and with a little bit of type with pencil on the page, I was exploring this kind of juxtaposition of connection over control over love, what that looks like visually. And then to take it one step further, what love might look like versus fear. And then my personal favorite is this one, infused with flecks of gold shimmery dollar store paint. Very fancy. The visual of work versus worth. And this is a really important concept to me, something that I am constantly helping students and others to try and untangle for themselves is, okay, my work is a piece of me, but not my whole worth. And so it was really interesting and enlightening for me to kind of walk through this process, very de-optimized process. I didn't know what was happening. I was meandering. I was creating something that I did not know what the outcome would look like, but it was a really profound few kind of 30 minutes in my day, that one day, that stuck with me. So this particular analog session was fruitful in terms of the final outcome, but even if it wasn't, really and truly, the act of holding a paintbrush or a pencil or a marker or a pastel or any sort of tool, choosing color, choosing words, deciding how much of what to put where, it was decidedly harder and not smarter and the best. So let's go back here for a second. I am a huge advocate, as you can see, of analog creative practice that is has beautifully de-optimized DNA, right? So again, that might look like painting or doodling or collaging or writing or any other tactile creative medium that invites presence rather than productivity. I also believe in multiplicity, and I don't believe it entirely has to be one or the other. Optimized or de-optimized, digital or analog, productive or playful. Optimization can absolutely coexist alongside intentionally slower hours and slower days. the more important questions, I think, are why are we optimizing? For whom? And for how long? And I think these questions invite us to step back and look at the larger systems shaping how we spend our time and how we spend our attention. As writer and artist Jenny Odell encourages us to ask, does this make me feel more human or less human? Now, one of my favorite tools for creating this space is surprisingly simple: a timer. I love to use time as a constraint in my analog de-optimized process, which may seem a little like redundant or like it doesn't make sense, but I promise you a timer is a beautiful thing in this process. So here's what I would like us to do. I would like everyone to please reach under your chairs. Yeah, it's happening. This is my Oprah moment. Okay, so here's what I would like you to do. If you are comfortable doing so, no pressure, of course, but on that little slip of paper that was under your chair, there is a prompt, and it is probably decidedly weird. Yeah, okay, so there's a few different prompts floating around. If it's too weird for you, find another chair, grab another prompt, or share with a friend. It's fine. But I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. We'll do this for 5 minutes. And I would love for you to draw some letters. You're all letter-loving people. Draw some letters, kind of following that prompt. So for example, one of the prompts is crook of the elbow. So instead of holding your pencil like you would normally hold your pencil, hold it in the crook of your elbow. Yeah? Okay. There's a few of you that say with your feet, just like I did. Again, if you're too weirded out by that, that's fine. Choose another prompt. And so on and so forth. So are we almost all ready to give it a try? Draw some letters in this very de-optimized, definitely not smarter, definitely way harder way. Yeah? Are we ready? All right, time has begun. There is no final product necessary that needs to meet any sort of brief. Experiment, play, do something weird. I love to see it. This is the best. You guys are committing to the bit, and I am here for it. Amazing. And so, again, thank you so much, everybody, and Type Brigade for having me. I do a bunch of weird stuff, a bunch of teaching stuff, a bunch of creative experimental stuff, and I would love to chat with you about what you do as well. And again, thank you, Type Brigade team, for having me. I have some nifty gifties for on the way out. I know we're not there yet. Probably have maybe some questions.
Thank you so much, Diana. I was going to say how lucky are your students, and then you have all that stuff for us too. Thank you. That was a really fantastic talk. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and the fun activity was a bonus too. Do we have some questions for Diana? Yeah.
Thank you for that. My question is about your font, Friends with Failure. Is the main font made out of your left foot and then they alternate the right foot, or is it mixed up?
That is an excellent question that I appreciate very much. So I'm right-handed, and I think naturally I'm right-footed as well. So the main characters are my right foot and the alternate are my left.
Thank you.
Great question.
Yeah, do we have, I thought I saw another one over here. Yeah. I really liked the Sharpie font that you used throughout, like the marker one. What is the name of that?
It's in my handwriting.
Oh, that's cool.
Thanks. I should turn it into a font. Okay.
Yeah, that was it. I really like that one.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, that was just me on Procreate scribbling around.
That would be too efficient, though.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just give me all of the stuff you need me to write, and I'll write it all for you by hand. This is great. Yeah. Thank you, though.
Yeah, over here.
Is there any other similar work that you've designed, like a typeface that you've designed similar? Like not in, like in the sense that it's like slow or like creativity or like creative.
So I work a lot in the world of typography, and I get to speak again with tons of incredible folks in the world, but I have done very little of my own typeface design. I am a type design doula. I help others usher their designs into the world. So no, the answer is no, but there's always time for slow, de-optimized experimentation. So yes, one day I will build out an actual not scrappy little font, and it will be much more robust, but not yet.
Also, like a bit of a personal question, but where is your top from?
My top?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. It's a company called Zuri. Yeah,
Oh.
Zuri. You're welcome.
Do we have another one over here? I mean, I have lots, but can you talk a bit about like I mean, you mentioned the maybe psychology piece for students,
Sure.
or like how much of it is, I thought I'd be teaching them about tooling and like, but you end up having to teach them about like being allowed to be bad at something or something like that. Like how much of that is part of your educator role?
So much. Yeah. And I think every educator has a different take on pedagogy and approach to teaching students and their own style and all of those things. But I think what I have, the role that I've kind of fallen into, I think, or molded myself into, is really one of cheerleader. So I spend a lot of time helping students realize that they are very capable and that they can do the cool stuff that's in their mind. And so, yes, a big part of my job is the really kind of detailed, this is how you click here to do this, but also like, yeah, go for it. You have a cool idea? Yeah. How can I help? So a lot of my teaching style is that.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, I felt like you brought a lot of enthusiasm to what we can take to what's next in our design process. So thank you so much, Diana, for being here. We were really lucky to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.